CEO of the Detroit Historical Museum, where we first debuted the exhibit for our Historical Society last year, Mr. Robert Burry. Right here.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And it's really my pleasure to be here today. And you know, I was thinking about what I was going to say as well, and what everyone said before me gave me lots of ideas, but I'll keep it short. And it was really not just our pleasure to work with the WGPR Historical Society, but it's really our honor, because it helped us do, and I think this is consistent with what Chief Craig said, make sure that the stories that we tell are representative of our entire community. And our new mission at the Detroit Historical Society is telling Detroit stories and why they matter. And I always talk about Detroit with the big D, to bring together all the different diverse voices and communities and telling those stories, because we really feel by looking back, that's how we will move forward. So we're really pleased to be part of this. It was really our privilege to get the sneak peek, and even though Karen and Joe kept their comments short, make no mistake, they have lots to say, but they were great partners in that project, in all of the WGPR team. One last comment is, you know, you hear a lot about Detroit in the renovations of the buildings and everything going on in what we call the 7.2, downtown and midtown. And it's great to invest and restore in those historic buildings, but it's just as important to recognize and commemorate places like this that are historic, because you can't move this. This is where it happened, and this is where it started many years ago, and it's really a privilege to have another cultural institution to round out that overall big Detroit experience. And of course, we're eager and excited to continue to work with WGPR Historical Society any way we can. And again, thanks for being here. You're going to like what you see inside. Thank you.
One thing Mr. Burry didn't mention, in addition to a wonderful partnership, while our exhibit was up at the Historical Museum, we had the handprints of the electrifying mojo installed in the Legacy Plaza, and that was all a part of the relationship and appreciation for WGPR. And of course, 107.5 and the TV station all operated under the same roof at the same time. And so that was a great honor, so we were quite pleased with that. And I know that Mr. Burry would not mind me saying he is a card-carrying member of the Midnight Funk Association.
And I know he looks like that.
We have a lot of alumni I know here. I can't see you all, but if you can raise your hands. These are people whose lives and futures, as I said, were changed by Dr. Banks and WGPR. I'm so glad to see you all out there, because you can appreciate this history. You are part of living history, many of you, for the very first time. And so your presence here is very special. I want to bring up now Dr. Carl Gregory, who has been a founding member, board member of the WGPR Historical Society. He's a distinguished emeritus professor from Oakland University. He was wonderful to work with, a very good critic of everything that we did. He kept us on a good straight and narrow and never bit his tongue. So, and I appreciated him for that, because he had the history. Many of the artifacts that you see in the images came directly from the family of Carl and Tanisha Gregory. So please come up, Carl.
I'm the son-in-law of Dr. Attorney, Supreme Grand Master of the International Masons, William Vanoy Banks. I appear here today at the request of his daughter, Tanisha Gregory, who was invited to speak today, and she's out of town and is very unhappy that she couldn't make it, but asked me to say a few words for her. Tanisha Gregory was an associate professor at Oakland Community College, teaching English and creative writing, when her father, Dr. William B. Banks, asked her to come and help him administer WGPR radio and TV. She was very happy in her job, had a lot of good fringe benefits and so on, and had a professorial career she was looking forward to completing. But she's always been a strong family person and did not deny her father, so she came and worked here for 12 years, helping him manage the radio station first, which began as a purchase of Grosse Pointe Radio. That's where the GPR came in, Grosse Pointe Radio. The owners in Grosse Pointe sold the radio station, so Dr. Banks led the effort on behalf of the International Masons and the Order of Eastern Star to buy the radio station.
But just being a part of this, you know, to leave it, you know, for your kids, your grandkids, so they can actually come and see and witness, you understand, what we were a part of.
And now we are in the history museum.
We're in the museum.
So that means forever. How many folks can say that for you?
I'm trying to tell you.
Talk to me quick.
Real quick.
The common wisdom then was that African Americans couldn't operate a radio station because radio stations make their money from commercials, and there weren't that many large black businesses to pay for the operation. But he was a brilliant person. He designed a strategy that, like all strategies that are successful, start from the strengths of the community and exploit those strengths. The strengths of the African American community have been during slavery, at the time of the organization of the stations, and now are focused often on the church. So he began the radio station by selling time to churches, so ministers for the first time had an opportunity to record their sermons and show them on and broadcast them on radio. So in a very short time, the unprofitable Grosse Pointe Radio became a profitable African American owned station. Now he put the W before the GPR for the call letters, and the call letters represented the focus of the radio station. WGPR stood for Where God's Presence Radiates.
Amen.
WGPR. After operating that successfully for a few years, they then said, why don't we get a TV station? And they then launched the WGPR TV station. My wife, Tanisha Gregory, served as the vice president and general manager for both operations. She was in charge of engineering, marketing, sales, programming, with the great assistance of Joe Spencer, and all of the other functions, finance and so on. Now, she shared Dr. Banks's vision of wanting to have African Americans participate in telling their own story. There were not opportunities to tell one story. Dr. Banks loved to tell the story that came out of the African community, where the story is that the truth about the hunt will never be accurate as long as the hunter tells the story. When lions tell their own story, the hunter will not always be the victor. So that story drives home his primary motive for organizing the TV station and the radio station, so that the community could tell its own story. It also, another goal was to give an opportunity to train African Americans to participate not only before the camera, but behind the camera, where many of the technical high-paying jobs are. And Tanisha Gregory organized a apprenticeship training program where she brought in lots of young folks, gave them experience in operating all the equipment and sometimes being on camera. They participated in the dance show and other things. And now there are African Americans all over the country that were trained here, some of whom worked here and who went on. Now, finally, I'd like to recognize that Martin Luther King talked about the beloved community. And you can't have a beloved community unless all races, ethnicities can participate in telling their own story and not having others tell their story exclusively. And that was the driving force behind WGPR radio and TV. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. That was a wonderful history lesson. And when you go inside, you'll see many of the stories that Dr. Gregory mentioned in graphic panels and artifacts and so forth.
We're here at the WGPR Museum and Historical Museum.
Yes.
And it's an exciting event, and we're really enjoying ourselves, especially when you can look back and hear HT's in a mellow mood on the wall, and you can see HT on the wall. And I'm here with my lovely wife, and I'm really, really, truly enjoying myself. Hope you're enjoying yourself too.
There's nothing like an MLK Day surprise. We have one of our senators, Coleman Young Jr., with us as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have maybe Coleman, if he wants to say something, come forward. Mr. Young, is there something special you want to say?
Yes, I do. I'll keep it brief, I promise. I know you're going to be careful with the politician says he'll be brief. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
To my colleagues, distinguished friends, guests, to you, the public, it's such an honor to be here. I just want to say something very briefly before I begin. As a great man once said, that man should not aspire to stand on top of the world, but to stoop down and lift mankind higher. That's what we're doing here. And as a descendant of the Honorable Coleman Alexander Young Sr., it brings me great pleasure and pride to be here today to honor not just African American exceptionalism, but also African American ownership. Know what this is. This is more than just a museum. This is a symbol. It is ideal that African Americans, if they work hard and play by the rules, can do anything. That we can own a radio station. That we can run a radio station. That we can hire African Americans. That we can lift our community up. That we can adhere and we can appeal and we can subscribe to that great ideal on the city of Detroit. We hope for better things, that it will rise from the ashes. And what is more apropos than this building that people used to drive by that I thought was once empty and now is a symbol, a pantheon of great success of African American people, descendants of kings and queens and scholars. So, I just want to say, before I leave, I want to thank the visionary work, Mr. Spencer, Mr. Hollowell, and Duggan, Chief Craig, for allowing me to be here. And I just want to say that there's a great saying. There is nothing more powerful in this world than a man whose soul is on fire. I am on fire today because I am standing on the shoulders of greatness of those who came before me. And speaking of which, I have a very special presentation I wanted to give to a man who gave me my start when I was young, well, younger, and wanted to be in the radio business, and nobody would give me a shot. This is to him and to his wife, Donna Rita and R.J. Watkins. WHPR. You know, he's out of WGPR. I had to honor my family. And I just wanted to say that if it had not been for this place, because excellence is not what you accomplish, it's what you help others to achieve. And if it had not been for the achievements of this place, we would not have given birth to R.J. and Dorita Watkins. So I just want to say to the most phenomenal, awesome, stupendous, wonderful, tremendous, God's greatest miracle, head and not the tail, above and not beneath, blessed in the city, blessed in the field, innovator, king maker, rainmaker extraordinaire, dragon slayer, the best, the creme of the creme, the top, y'all. I want to give this tribute to builders of an international mixed media complex, outstanding man and women, oh hell, almighty man and woman of valor. I want to present to you, from the Michigan State Cynics, this tribute, honoring all the wonderful things that you've done, because eyes cannot see, ears cannot hear, mouths cannot speak, minds will not be able to comprehend the wonderful things that you've done here and the wonderful things that GPR and this museum, William V. Banks, will continue to do. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Wow, what a surprise. I want to say thank you to everyone. Dr. Banks, Mr. Dogan, Mr. Holloway, just thank you. We're honoring Dr. Banks today, and without Dr. Banks, I couldn't have done this, and I just can't say nothing but on a day like today, Martin Luther King's birthday, we're seeing the dream. We're able to see the dream. We're able to be a part of what Dr. Banks allowed me to be a part of. Now we have Henry Tyler and myself. We have a radio and TV station. It all came from WGPR TV and radio. And thank you. Just thank you.
What did you do for WGPR TV?
What did I do for WGPR TV? I worked hard. They allowed me to do live radio shows, New Year's Eve live TV and radio. We broadcast with simulcast. We did dance shows. We did the scene. We did the new dance show. We did Mike Matthews plays. Mike Matthews started here. Now he's a national playwright. And we're going to do a sitcom called Fake Friends. And GPR has developed a lot of people, a lot of things. And I'm just so elated. I'm so elated just to be a part, just to be a part of this lovely production, and it's still going on, and I'm still a part of this organization. Thank you, sir.
Representation from the International Free and Accepted Modern Masons, and with that I'm going to turn this over to a leader of that organization, Mr. Ken Hollowell. And the International Masons, if Joe thinks I've had a big influence responsibility, we would not be here today without the support of the International Masons, who had the studio totally renovated in order to create, as Mr. Hollowell said, a very aesthetic home for the videos, the artifacts, and the story panels of WGPR, the founders, the programs, and everything you're going to see very shortly. So I'm going to bring up Mr. Kenneth Hollowell.
Thank you, Karen. As Karen said, I'm Ken Hollowell, the Supreme Grand Master of International Masons and the Vice President, Station Manager of WGPR. And I'd like to add our station's welcome to everyone for sharing with us on this special occasion. And it gives me great pleasure to present to you this morning the leader of both organizations, the Supreme President of International Masons and the President and General Manager of WGPR, Mr. James O. Dogan.
Thank you. You may have noticed that all of our speakers came up with nothing in their hand. So I had something in my hand, I should lay it down. However, welcome to everyone. On behalf of our Deputy Mayor, who is with us this morning, on behalf of the staff of WGPR, whom you will see on this board and here in this building as well, on behalf of the Grand Master of the state of Michigan in International Free and Accepted Modern Masons Incorporated and Order of Eastern Star, on behalf of all departments of International Masons that are represented here, including the Order of the Eastern Star and each department of the Masons, and some of you who may be curious, just ask some of them what department they represent and what it takes to get to that final department, which is the 33rd degree council. And if most of you may remember that Jesus lived 33 years, so you may want to try to go in your Bible and tie that together. On behalf of Dr. Gregory, who is with us, who was with Dr. Banks for many years, and certainly on behalf of the Banks family, and all of the International Free and Accepted Modern Masons and Order of Eastern Star family, and all of you who have come, who have supported us all down through the years, and who are still with us today to ensure that the legacy continues. We are certainly pleased and happy to have you with us today, and certainly happy to see the Supreme Grand Matron of International Masons and Order of Eastern Star arrive as well. Thank all of you for coming. Thank all of you for your support, for helping to make this a reality. Of course, on behalf of the President and of course the Executive Director, we certainly appreciate them, for they have worked tirelessly in order to make this happen. And once we cut this ribbon and you go on the inside, we hope that something there will catch your attention so that you will see from which we came and where we are today.
And today we recognize Mr. and Mrs. Watkins for the iconic impact on the media world, broadcast and entertainment. We are so blessed in Detroit that history is being made, continuing to be made. The legacy of Mr. Banks lives on with Mr. Watkins and what's happening here with this museum. And I present to you a recognition from the County of Wayne, recognizing you as an icon in business, television, and entertainment. And we present this resolution that has been spread at length upon the journal of the day's proceedings to endure as a lasting record of the respect and admiration for the life built by R.J. Watkins, following the footsteps of Mr. Banks. God bless and congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Well, I couldn't have done it without people like this man right here. Mr. Doug, I want to say thank you, sir. I love you. Dr. Banks, Tanisha Gregory. Mr. Doug, you've been like a brother, like a father, like an uncle, a friend, a godfather. You mean the world to me, sir.
Thank you.
Me and the wife and the family and our company, we thank you so much, sir.
We thank you as well, and certainly since my 25 years of being in Detroit, I've known this young man, and certainly he has not been anything but someone you would want to know. For he has the innovation to make things happen, and certainly we appreciate him. Appreciate what he did here the years before I came, and we certainly appreciate what he has done since I've been here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Bless you.
WGPR touched me. Like WGPR, only 8 short years after Detroit's civil unrest. And then I enter as a new police officer, 19 years old, just 10 short years after the civil unrest. Very different time. But when I think about what Dr. Banks did for this city, we're talking about the first African-American owned station in this country. We're talking about an individual who was a visionary, a doctor, a minister, someone who wanted to create opportunities back then in the 70s for African Americans to work in television. I remember vividly the scene. I remember what that was like. But during that same time, coming into policing, I remember what it was like when then the first African American mayor, Coleman A. Young, was very aggressive about integrating the Detroit Police Department so it could reflect the city that was being protected and served. I remember vividly what it was like my first day face to face with racism, because it was clear to me then that we were not necessarily welcome, and how we evolved in becoming one of the nation's best, certainly a police department that when you talk about relationships in the neighborhoods and the communities was a model for so many others to follow. And then moving on to Los Angeles after a layoff and seeing the differences, this big mega city on the west coast, but truly very far behind. You know, what parallel when you talk about WGPR and you talk about television in LA, Hollywood, and the fact that in Los Angeles they had their own dance show. We had the scene here in Detroit, and we had Soul Train that went national. But the distinct difference there was you didn't have, while African Americans performed, certainly participated in the show, behind the scenes you didn't see what you had here at WGPR. So certainly I applaud the vision of Dr. Banks. And when you look at the parallels then and what's going on today, yes, we have made such great strides and success. But I must say, we still have a lot of work to do. Because when you think about what Banks brought, Dr. Banks brought, in terms of empowering young African Americans, today we just need to do better. When we think about the divisions that exist today, and not only in this country, but just look here in our own home, we still have plenty of work to do. And again, I just want to say God bless you, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to say a few words this morning.